Patrick cousin?
Hmm?
Patrick cousin?
Okay.
That's because I never go around telling everyone this is cousin John, cousin Bill. Everyone has a name.
You're up in one.
And I
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started.
use their name.
You have an extra copy of that?
Yep.
Oh, did I?
That's why I could give that and just.
Okay. Guess we'll go ahead and get started. This is our progress meeting with Milk River Levee right-of-way fencing. That seems to kind of, I guess, have a kind of a pause right now, but I'll turn the meeting over and let Jonathan run it.
Okay. I provided the minutes from the last meeting.
Did you ever get the cert for out?
We did. Yep. Just got it last week and looks good. So we reviewed it and sent him documentation that we reviewed it.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, let's continue moving on. As far as progress since the last meeting, I don't think there's been much, to be honest. Pat, I talked to him this morning on the way up, and he's got some of the holes drilled over at Alcock's for the chain link fence, but no posts up yet. And then they've got the new swing gates fabricated. I believe the posts and foundations are set for those. We'll go look at that today. And he wants to get those set in fairly short order. But otherwise, he submitted a request here, which I provided to, I guess, postpone until weather conditions improve. Hard to say, yeah. I don't know if the ground's frozen or not. He seems to think it's getting cold enough at night still to freeze, but I told him, I guess here's kind of where we're at from a practical standpoint. So contract says that, and when contract Pat signed said the work needs to be substantially complete by December 31st. And that date's passed. It also states the winter shutdown will not be granted. And the reason we wrote it that way initially is because
we're sure to get it done.
Pushing it well, and because the ARPA funds need to be expended.
They had to.
Yep. So, per the contract, the county has the right to assess liquidated damages for work that he performs after the date of substantial completion, and that's set in the contract at $500 a day. You can also assess him our fees for time that we incur after that date. And I think if the county did want to pursue that, he might have a case also just for some of the other delays that.
Right. The thing I was going to ask is the changes that we made on the fly. How many days did that put him behind? Do you have any idea?
Right.
The other thing is it was discussed in these meetings about his winter stuff. We've had meetings here and the winter stuff was discussed.
And a lot of it,
Times.
he made it sound like that wasn't going to be a problem.
It was not supposed to be a problem. You are very correct. He figured he could get it done, but delays not in his control is what has stopped it.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that the county should pursue that. I'm just saying it's
Exactly.
an option for the contract. I think he's been great to work with. I mean, he's been super flexible.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting on us. And
well, that's the thing is how many of the changes and things that we've had that he's had to wait on us has put him behind.
Yeah.
But he also I thought he also made it clear that regardless of the weather, they could still push on.
Yeah.
No, he did not say that all the way. Because you cannot put the fence in when the ground is frozen, and he made a stipulation of that in one of the very first ones.
What I told him is that I'd rather they I feel like they've probably for the last 6 weeks or so, they haven't devoted staff to this because they've been elsewhere.
Right.
And that's, I guess it is what it is. I told him.
It really hasn't been a high priority for a while for them. But again, is that some of that is back onto us for some of our things that we haven't?
Probably, yeah.
I would probably say that. And not just because, because we had delays with the Gildards, we had delays with the Rogers, we had delays with the Erickson, we have delays down here, and we had so long to get the windshields. And so I think it was a togetherness.
There's certain portions of the project that can't even be completed because of the encroachments that still remain. So I just asked him that when they do want to start again, they come in and get it done. Let's not do a little bit here and a little bit there.
Right.
Come in, spend 2 weeks.
Well, that's why I was hoping he was gonna be here today, so we could talk about some of those things.
I told him
I thought he would, thought he or somebody would be here.
I talked to him last week and he told me he would be here. And then he called me at 10 o'clock this morning on our way up and said, I'm down in Hardin. I said, that's unacceptable for you to give me an hour notice that you're not going to be at the meeting. He said, well, I thought.
Bill, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Pat called me yesterday and he was trying to find a gas line over by the wastewater plant by the pump house that's in the back there. I guess he had the gate that he was gonna put in, but in order to put that other post or something in, there is a gas line over there. And he was trying to work with somebody at the wastewater plant or the utility company or somebody before those posts they put down, anywhere from 3 to 5 feet into the ground, and he wanted to make sure he didn't hit that. So he was still working on that gate that they have to put over there, and then also the last post, I guess, up against that pump house that we've got over there.
What they need specifically is a key to get into the chain link fence that encloses the station so that they can hook a unit onto the tracer wire and figure out where that gas line goes. So who would have the key to the station? Yeah. No idea.
You guys should.
Is that what that? Got a pile of things in here at one time.
After the meeting.
How do you?
I think they're in that teeth thing.
Over there?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he had put them in there.
Did you have it separated?
There was a whole ring of keys.
No, those were his that he carried.
No, there are ones that he got handed to him. Clay, did you leave some keys here? Would those keys would that be in those keys you left?
Which key are you looking for?
The key to the gate on the chain link fence that surrounds the lift station.
Say that a little bit louder. That surrounding the what station?
The lift station, the sewage lift station. That's what Pat needs to get into.
I have never tried to get into that lift station. We're talking the one on the north side of the river, right?
Yes.
There's a whole group of keys there I got from RL. A lot of them were to the manholes and the valves, the gate valve stuff. But I left a whole bunch of keys there, and I had never tried to get into that. No idea.
Those lift stations are maintained at Lakeside.
Oh,
Tyler probably can get because Tyler goes and maintains them all.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, after the meeting, I'll talk to you.
Okay. So I think in summary, I'd recommend the county grant Pat's request for winter shutdown.
I do think that we need to have some discussions on some of those things, because I know that were a lot of things that were our fault too, but also I don't think they were putting 100% behind it.
Okay. Table that for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can't make any decisions,
Mhm.
only me here. Well, we probably could, but you're right. Yeah, let's give that an extension. I mean, we don't have probably much of a choice in it. He's gonna I mean,
The
if we
other,
had a lot of weather like this for the next, one, be a whole different story, but.
yeah, the other challenge with liquidated damages is just based on case law. It oftentimes the county would have to incur real damages in order for them to be upheld legally. So there's that side of it. And then on Great West Engineering's fees, considering we're still under budget on our contract. We're not over budget there, so.
My concern is the money that was supposed to be spent by the end of December.
Yeah, so that's not an issue with this, because we were able to use other related expenses to cover that. Yep. So that money has been,
376,000 I should be getting back, and it is 376. I went and looked because you said 316, and no, it's 376.
Okay, so on a separate thing, Erickson,
So we don't even have all these guys figured out, Jonathan, on this guy here for them to put the.
so Grant Erickson, I ran into him,
well, that's who that was.
not
No.
today, this was previously. He'd had some pictures, I think it was an area that he had concern with people were driving on his property. And I'm not even sure where it was at. He was supposed to leave me some pictures and never did or send them to me.
But where it was at was over there towards his house, because then he was paying all of his taxes.
Right.
So then he sat and he showed me all the pictures.
So where was that at? He was just showing me where people from the, that were putting in the fence in the, we were driving on his property. And there's tracks of snow, and then whoever's moving snow, and there's a chain link of something. I only saw part of it. Was that left station?
But this isn't just this was everybody on his piece, but it was over there next to his house when you go, and if you go down there, it was on 8.5 Street. There's that little short piece on 8.5 Street right here. And you will have Campbell's right here, but then right in here. And I can't show you on this map. I can show you on a real parcel map where 8.5 Street is. And which two it is, because what they were doing was they were ending up, however they are backing into it. And then they're also backing in this way on 8.5 Street because of how that was in. But I have to, I don't have that picture. This picture is different than the other picture. Because he has two mobiles there on 8.5 Street.
Did you get a chance to talk to him about his trailer houses?
No. I told him, I said, well, we were wanting to talk to you. Can you come in sometimes? Well, yeah. And I said, we'd like to get copies of those pictures. Yeah, I'll be in. And then,
There was a complaint about the contractor.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's not just the contractors, others that drive back there and they can't get around. He had a picture of a part of a chain link fence and there was something in there. I don't know, was that a lift station or?
That's right there, right at the south end of this property.
And then this here.
There.
That's the lift station.
I see.
And the other thing was is these are in here and right there. He
Yeah.
is.
So these are the proper.
Because these are not in the surveys of being over yada yada. Because he showed me all those surveys and you know. But then I had to go find 8.5 Street, so.
So I did tell.
These maps don't work very well.
I did tell him that we need to talk to him about some of his rentals that he has over there because of some of the stuff is on it. It's, kind of in the way and it crosses over. But yeah, that would make sense there because they were driving, sounds like maybe you're over in here.
That's kind of how you have to turn around.
And he's, yeah, because he said at one time before they put that fence in that where they put it at, it was easy for people to turn around, but not so much now.
Correct, and it was regular people, not, it's how they have to do it every day.
Oh,
And then he said when they do the snow removal, they push it over onto his property.
the county does that?
Of course, I'm not sure who does. I think it's probably whoever.
Yeah.
Right, because he does that for Campbell and stuff.
I asked, I said, you wanna come in, we'll take a look at it? No, I gotta get going.
Right. But then also you don't have that thing done for that other person down here. That person, not that person, this person. Low one.
Yeah, maybe let's talk about this map that's next on the agenda. Let's just, some proposed changes in this area, just given that a lot of the encroachment still remains, so. Maybe starting at Harrison there. What I thought we would do for now, and again, this won't happen until the contractor resumes, but we would just install the metal T-posts
Right,
through there, keeping any posts 5 feet away from the structures, but just to really show where the property line is, not put any wire up. And then beginning on the north side of this trailer here, the North Erickson trailer,
yeah,
there's an existing chain link fence there.
right,
And so thought it makes sense to put back chain link fence there.
right. Remember we talked about that before, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. That makes complete sense.
And then beginning again where Laura Hanson's property is, or the Rogers property, we would just do just the T-posts up to her trailer, and then starting on the north side of her trailer, there's really no reason we couldn't just stick with the plan to do metal T-posts and split
Right.
wire. And then going north, what Sandy was referring to is the couple of shop buildings there on the low end property. Those are still unresolved. They're twins at this point.
So which ones?
These two,
Oh,
the big shops on the low
okay,
property.
those are the low ones, right?
Yeah. And then on the Alcock property, just install it per plan. I guess the only change we made there from the original plan is to increase the size of the gates to 20 feet wide instead of 12, I believe, because they're at an angle. And then, beginning on the Anderson property, stick with the plan with the 3-wire smooth wire.
Right.
So. All sounds good.
Yep.
Yep.
Jake did say he tried to reach out to the assets again, just had no luck.
Okay. No change orders. Progress payments, pay request, Pat said he would work on the third application for payment, I think, and get it submitted by next week. Ann and I are gonna go out after the meeting today and brought a field measurement. We'll double check all the quantities that have been installed so far and check those against Pat's.
Okay.
We haven't done that so far just because what he's requested payment for has been within our original bid quantities, but we'll go out and verify that.
Now, when you go out over there, can you check some of that stuff by Hinkles
Yeah,
about, because they had mentioned something,
Yep.
some of those T-posts may have come loose. They might be frozen now for a couple inches.
I feel firm now. Yeah. Speaking of that, you guys have keys to the levee gates? Clay thought he might.
I think those were the keys that might be in there. There might be some in the cabinet, but I
I'll
don't.
go through them.
Okay.
They're labeled, so.
Oh, yeah, okay. Certified payrolls, there are continuing to be submitted to our administrator on a weekly basis, so we're good there. Other issues, got the Geldards. It mentioned that grant application opportunity to.
And it has to be turned in today, right?
Today, and Craig Erickson is waiting anxiously for the yay or nay.
Well,
Whether you want to submit that in just a minute, Sandy, and we can, if you decide to submit the letter of intent, that doesn't obligate you to submit the grant.
So do we? At least that gives us
Right.
time.
And with that, we just
did do the Gildart house, maybe the Erickson stuff there. At the lower,
If you did not do colors,
yeah.
Yeah.
Not that we'd buy that, but maybe to remove them.
yeah, we'd have to get a new cost put together on what it would take to move the Geldard's house, but I think it's probably been 4 years or so, Mark Peterson got a quote from a house mover and it was 80,
Was it about?
yeah, less than 100. And then, but then that's just moving it.
Right, nothing about reconnecting, that was just literally the movement.
Right, so maybe it'd be 200, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea, John. Um, no idea what that kind of thing would cost.
Well, with everything else has went up about 8% in the last 4 years, so.
It's doubled.
I mean, I'm just saying in the last,
And our treasurer doesn't want us purchasing more properties, so they're off the county tax rolls, so.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense. I understand that.
But I'm just looking at maybe, I don't know, if some of those other things taken care of over there, if not the Gildart one.
Yeah, Craig, what Bill's referring to is there's 2 other properties along the levee that they're privately held, but have trailer homes encroaching in the right of way. And
Would that have to be part of that application?
yeah, we might want to broaden the title of the application, Craig, to allow for some of those other properties, whether it's acquisition or moving those homes as well.
How many homes are we talking about?
I think it'd be 4 altogether, Geldards, and then 3 other.
What would be interesting to look into? If the residents of these properties, each of these properties, including the Geldards, would be willing to participate in an income survey, which would be very easy to do because we're talking about such a small sample size, a few people, is the project could, and I'm just saying could, it might be eligible for CDBG funding. And as you know, Jonathan, CDBG funding through some work that I've never really fully understood. CDBG funds can be used to match both FEMA and Corps of Engineer funding.
But could they be used to match this grant?
Potentially, you'd have to talk to the Montana Department of Commerce about that. And if we were to do an income survey, the reason I mentioned the income survey is that would, if we could determine that those folks are considered low and moderate income, if each one of those people, that would be a 100% LMI benefit, which would make the application pretty competitive. And
Sandy has a question, Craig.
The
CDBG.
Yeah, I can't say that for some reason. Those are federal funds, and this says we can't use federal funds.
yeah, I understand that, Sandy, but as I said, CDBG funding has been used and can be used to match certain federal funding, and we've used it on disaster mitigation projects. I'm not quite sure how that works, and we would certainly confirm that. But that is a potential source of grant funding for this project.
What kind of CDBG grant would that be, Craig? A planning grant or a?
No, it'd be a public facilities grant.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this project, the entire levee is in a low income, high LMI census tract. Now that may not mean anything right now for this project, but I suspect that each one of those people, each one of those property owners or residents would qualify as meet this description of low and moderate income. So, I mean, that's one thing we could look at. That we would look at that.
So
But
Craig,
I can't promise you that, commissioners and Sandy, I can't, that it would be eligible.
just thinking of like the worst case scenario, I mean, if this DES grant's due in March and say we apply we confirm that CDBG funds can be used to match. Oh, when are CDBG applications taken, and if that next fall?
Yeah.
Of 27 or 6?
No, please do. This year, the applications were due November 14th. That was unusual. Typically, the deadline is sometime in the first week of October.
Didn't they just award all that money?
Yes, they did.
They awarded some to the city and everywhere. Is that the same money?
It comes from the same program. It's a different, it all comes from HUD, but it's a different program. We had, 3 of our clients, received, CDBG construction grants.
Right, because that's what the city just got rewarded that 50,000 for.
Yeah, I prepared that application for them.
And Craig, just to confirm, you think if the county were to decide to apply for these DES funds for this type of project, the level of effort would be between $15,000 and $20,000 for?
Yeah, and I mean, we hope that it's less than that, but the application guidelines aren't available, not yet. And the way it's been described to us, Jonathan, is it is similar to a FEMA flood mitigation assistance grant or a building or a brick grant. And those are, as you know, Jonathan, a significant funding application, great deal of work. And they also require, this program will require, like FEMA does, a benefit cost analysis, which, you know, we're capable of doing. We've done several of them here. So we will adjust that cost once we see the application guidelines. I hope it's less because obviously that's quite a bit of money, but if it is similar to a brick application, it is a lot of work.
And how many, I meant, is the competition for this grant? I mean,
We don't know. We don't know.
yes, but on a normal guesstimation,
Well, keep in mind, this is the first time the Montana DES has called for applications. So this is new. We're flying blind here. But I did sit in on both webinars that were held by Montana DES. And the first webinar, over 42 communities participated. And in the second webinar, it was almost 30. So I would suspect, like every other grant program we work with, the competition will be intense.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, this is an unusual opportunity. They don't come across, this kind of thing doesn't come across too often, especially from, I mean, like I said, this is the first time that I'm aware of that Montana DES has done something like this. So we'll see what happens, but grant funding typically is also always very competitive.
So from the looks of this application and all these things that, I don't know, this is quite a bit, isn't it? All these points that they're doing and all these requirements. That's quite a bit, right?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was reading and understood it.
yeah, it's a significant effort. It's one of the reasons I don't like the term free money, because there's no such thing. This will require significant investment and, and and Sarah Hartley, who runs Montana DES or runs this program, she has stated that they have $4 million available. And if they get more requests than they have funding, they're going to cap the grant awards at 300,000. And we are operating under the assumption that 300,000 will be the maximum grant award.
Well, this other thing that we would have to come up with for the 20,000, what's that thing called?
The application.
So can we use that in any other thing, the work that, does the work spill over to another grant? Are we able to use it?
Like what?
I don't know, Craig, do you think like FEMA FMA funding would be a possibility for this type of project in the future? And Sandy asked if,
Potentially, yeah, I mean, potentially. I mean, FEMA has been, I come from a community, I grew up in a neighborhood where FEMA paid for the relocation of homes. And so this type of project is eligible for both, FMA, the Trump administration has discontinued the BRIC program, but yeah, certainly. I mean, that's kind of how the Montana DES is modeling this program after FMA. And you may recall, Jonathan, that the application for FMA and the application for BRIC are identical. Right? Yeah, they're the same application. Two different programs, but same application. And, but yeah, so in fact, the NOIs that I'm preparing an NOI right now for another client, and I'm pulling information from other documents that have been created for similar projects. So, I mean, it is a resource. It's not like, if you look at this project somewhere down the road or something similar to it, I would imagine that there is information there would be information in the application that we could use that would reduce the level of effort on a new application.
Because weren't we funded with some FEMA at the very beginning of this project to start with that SWIFT program, or was that HUD?
that was the DBG.
That was CDBG.
It was. We had something else also.
Yeah, you're testing my memory, which is.
We had
good.
something else because I talked to, they come to those MACO conferences and then from Washington. And so it was someone else that we used also, and I wasn't sure if that was HUD.
I don't know.
Wrong with your memory.
I prepared the CDBG application. Still have it. We still have it in the project drive, but I don't recall what else was used. It was quite a few years ago.
And another thing there, Craig, I need to get a hold of you today. Are you available? Daughter, did you get?
I have an appointment from 2 to 3. But yeah, today's kind of full, but if not today, certainly tomorrow. Yeah.
That's okay. I'll get your number from Jonathan here in the email if that's okay.
Oh, certainly. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So where are we at? Throw that letter of intent out there, but expand it.
I think that'd give you another couple months to, I think the challenge is that someone from the county is really gonna need to drive the
Right.
conversations with those property owners
Yeah, absolutely.
in the next 2 months, as we, probably in the next month, really.
On that survey that you were talking about, what would that entail, Greg?
Oh, it's, basically, it's a one-page document that asks, which would ask each of the property owners, we don't need exact incomes, or Department of Commerce doesn't require exact household income, but it would ask which range their income, their household income lands in. And it also asks how many people live in the house, in the residence, whatever it may be, a trailer home or a house. So depending on how many people live in the home, they have a range of incomes that they use it to determine, low income and moderate income, or excuse me, also extremely low income. And if those homes fall into those ranges, then they are considered eligible for the CDBG funding.
So is that for all the properties within that our levy project, or just the ones that are affected?
In this case, it would be for the properties that are affected. If it were for the levy project as a whole,
Okay,
I can tell you right now that the levy project would be eligible because, as I mentioned,
right.
it is in a low income census tract. I've already had that discussion with the Department of Commerce.
Does this income guideline follow PTAP guidelines?
No, it follows county MHI data prepared by HUD and on an annual basis. And I haven't looked at that data in quite a while. I haven't done an income survey in years, but they're not that difficult to do. Well, they are difficult to do, but with a group this small, it shouldn't be a significant effort. But before we go down that path, we would certainly want to have a conversation with the Montana Department of Commerce.
Okay, I just asked about PTAP because I know who's on PTAP, and if they followed the same guidelines, I would have an idea.
I'm not familiar with that term. I don't.
PTAP is that property tax assistance.
Yeah, I've never used that. I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry.
They'll ask Craig if it's the renters or the property owners that have to fill out the.
Craig, is it the property owners or the renters that would have to fill out that?
Renters.
The renters.
Yes. However, if the property owner has to participate, and this is where it gets sticky. If we use the income of the renters, then it tends to fix, and that the property owner benefits by relocating the home or trailer, whatever the case might be. Then there's an expectation from the Department of Commerce that those rents are fixed at a certain level for a period of 5 years. Now, they can be adjusted for inflation, but that would be something, again, that we would want to clarify with Commerce. So when we have conversations with these homeowners or property owners, that a landlord or a rental or the owner of a rental property, that they understand this, because obviously that's a pretty serious consideration.
Is that following the cost value the same as what the cost for DOR users? If you're talking about the renter?
No, it's the criteria is set by the Montana Department of Commerce.
And Craig, just to be clear, that the income survey is only required for the possible CDBG application.
That's correct. It's not required for the DES funding that we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
the quorum. Three.
It's kind of, yeah.
You know how many members we're talking to? Three?
Well, I think it's the Geldards, Erickson's, Rogers, and Lauren. So 4.
And do they know any of this?
No. That's why I suggest that we do the intent or whatever, and then it gives us time to talk to them. We can then also figure out.
And Greg, do we know, these are state funds, correct? And will they be available in future years?
First part of your question is yes. The second part of your question is I don't know.
Okay.
This was a first time thing.
Yeah, these funds became available through Montana House Bill 424, which was 2022.
I mean, I think seems like it's gonna be a heavy lift in 2 months to engage with this many property owners, but I also think it's a unique opportunity for something like this that
It is.
pass up.
Yeah, I mean, and if you submit the NOI, and you talk to the property owners and you get a serious pushback from them, and you decide not to pursue these funds, then, this NOI doesn't obligate you to anything, commissioners. It's just, you're
Right.
throwing your hat in the ring, the ring, excuse me. And you're just saying, hey, we're intending to, apply for these funds, but, DES understands that may change as well. So,
Yeah.
pretty basic.
So after these NOIs go in, you'll be able to tell how many people have at least thought about it
Oh yeah, we'll know.
for the amount of competition that you will have.
Now, that won't tell us how many people will actually apply, but it will tell us how many people are thinking about applying.
Correct, but you can deduct around competition by that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Montana DES, but I understand why they did this because they understand FEMA. That's who they typically work with. So if you're going to create a grant program, it makes sense that they would model it after FMA or BRIC. But these applications, as I've mentioned repeatedly, that type of application requires a significant amount of effort. And for $300,000, I wish they had streamlined it a little bit, made it a little bit more user friendly for, folks like you. But, this is the game we have to play, and that's what, those are their rules. So it is what it is.
But you did FEMA, so nothing you do with FEMA is easy.
Yeah, I mean, the last FMA application we wrote was for the city of Forsyth, and they were awarded $7.2 million. Now, that's a significantly greater return on the investment than $300,000.
Correct. That might be worth it.
okay,
So let me know.
okay, thank you, Craig. I would say we
You're
go for it, submit it, the intent.
Excuse me?
Go ahead and submit the intent.
Okay, will do.
Okay,
Thanks, Greg.
thank you.
Hey, Jonathan,
Yes.
when you have a minute, call me back after you're done with your meeting, please.
Okay, probably about 15 minutes or so.
No hurry.
All right. Thank you.
That might be okay to submit this, but you must understand, everyone must understand, there is no money to come up with the 20,000, so we really gotta think. So we can't just do such of a heavy amount of work.
One thing to think about is reaching out to Bear Paw. I asked Craig that question initially, whether this would be in Bear Paw's wheelhouse. He thought Obviously not, given the PCA component of it, but maybe, and that would be a cheaper option.
But with the, I mean, the significant amount of work
Right.
that is
I
required from
understand
him,
that, yeah.
I do not, there's no money.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Gate that's going in over by the sewer plant to access our property,
Oh,
that's not up yet.
that's your Wolves property?
Yeah. Below my own
yeah.
property,
Over by the water plant, you're talking
yeah,
about,
or water plant,
Yeah.
over by the water plant.
or
Oh, yeah.
wastewater?
Yeah, when that goes up, how's the key situation? I don't wanna get locked out.
Yeah, we haven't figured that out.
I just doing it, I guess, can you have that in the plans to? I don't wanna show up over there and not be able to,
How's it worked in the past? You have your own lock?
yeah, it had a key to a dike lock, dike key.
Weren't you putting on 1,000,000 chain links to
I
that?
know that
So
was
we had
talk.
talked about, but I don't think we ever really narrowed it down.
Okay, I just knew the meeting was happening then. I just tried to get here while it's still going to ask you guys to
Yeah.
make sure that was a plan, so all of a sudden we're not showing up to get in the property and
Well, Clay's on. Clay, do you have any thoughts on access control for the new gates as far as locks?
Yeah, we'll just get a couple of, different locks, for that, depending on how it's set up for the, way to open the gate. And make sure that they get a key. That shouldn't be a big deal. The wastewater plant's gonna need a key too.
I guess the gate needs to be set up so you put multiple locks on the lock side.
Or give you a key to the one lock?
Or either which way. Yeah, just so when it does get locked, we don't show up and then we have to, it's a Friday afternoon and nobody's around and I need to get in.
Randy calls me and says, sorry, Randy, I have no idea.
I know that's how it works, but I just thought I'd throw it out there before it happens
Okay. Well, thank you.
at the last second, so
Yep, I'll figure that out.
I appreciate it. What is the plan over at Lasley's and, Ferguson?
That's still tabled. Yeah, no plan currently.
So if not, I guess I thought it was in the plans that there was a fence going up on the
No.
bid.
Not on their property. There's a little chunk of it just to the east that is owned by, Strong's.
Right.
But lastly, O'Neill Ferguson, there's nothing on the plan.
Oh, cause all the fence got torn down on Ferguson's, it was on the county property,
On the county property.
but there's no new count on the county line going up. I thought that was the purpose of this,
Um,
to establish county property.
well, there's a letter that Ferguson in particular that provided where the county authorized those two big pillars
Oh, that,
to remain.
that they had authorization to have, what they have. Trying to clarify why certain things happen and why they happen in certain spots and not on others, and
One of those things that as things happen, things get unearthed and find out things that were not there when we started.
And then I think the other two properties, Lasley's and Neal's, I don't know that they have any, I mean, they've got some personal property in the right of way, but not the fence.
Okay.
all right, have a good day.
Jonathan, did you go and find out if that approach is good?
No, that's still on those. Of,
Oh, was that nice? And I'm
That's on.
paying attention.
Yeah.
Our agenda here that
I apologize.
no, but I think we're there. I mean, we talked through Geldar, Willow Hanston, Erickson's, I guess Roderick.
we had a meeting last week with Lacey on our list of things that he's working on, and that's on there, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it's real high. Some of our other leases and things that we have, I think are a bit higher, people that are on, like some of our grazing and water contracts and things.
Yeah.
But it is on her radar.
Okay. And clonage release sale, I just left that on there.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay.
That's part of those things that.
Okay. And then the road along Neil Ferguson. Lastly, we still need to evaluate whether they've altered, the roads on top of the seeded berm, we're going to evaluate whether it's been altered. Winchell property, as far as I know, we'll go verify, but I don't think any work has been done there. So that will be
On which one?
the
The
Winchell,
Winchell.
that's the chain link fence over.
They were working on that, right, about that time.
Really?
Last
Nice.
Yes, but they had to, and then they had to move that tree.
Yeah,
I thought they were gonna,
they were planning to, I just don't think they have it.
you didn't check on that when you go over there.
Yep. And then I guess Pat's not here to speak to other hazards or risks. Quality work, I noted the leaning fence posts along the Hinkle property, so we'll look at that. And then, no reports on access or site concerns either. As far as the date and time of the next meeting, I guess I propose just TBD based on when Pat wants to get going again. Unless you guys want to keep meeting regularly on a 2-week basis, that's fine too.
Maybe you can call in.
Yeah.
Just gonna call in.
Okay.
Cause some of these things we may pop up or.
Okay, let's do a teleconference then in a couple of weeks.
You can't wait too long because it's gonna rain a lot in April.
Jonathan,
Yes.
they put in, they called me about 2 weeks ago, and maybe they talked to you about this, the guys who were doing the fencing. That Y that is between Geldards and where it turns, the road turns a curve and goes along the dike to Ferguson's and Lashley's area.
Yep.
They were talking about trying to angle that gate that would go in, that goes to, I'm gonna say, that goes to the east, that kind of cuts off, the access for people to go up over the top of the dike there.
Right.
I don't know how that looks. I don't know which way, if they went straight. I just said you gotta go from that corner of Geldards, up towards the dike. They thought because the road was a little angled there that they would put a little bit of an angle on that fence. So look at that when you're over there and see if there's any questions on that,
Okay. Yep, we'll take a look.
please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. How does Wednesday the 21st look? And in the morning?
We have, that's, I think our chamber annual luncheon meeting is at right noon, so we're probably gonna want to be out here by 11:30.
I mean, if it's just
Just call, yeah, you can do a quick call at 11.
I have a meeting at 11 also.
Okay.
But anytime before that,
Okay,
or the 22nd.
all depend upon what we do with our weekly meetings.
Yeah. Or I can get back in touch.
We have a bit, that's into the day.
What about January 28th?
You like that one?
Yeah, because you wanted January 21st. Well, I was looking in February and I was wondering how that was gonna work out on the 20th.
I'm wide open.
Yeah, so it's this, do we have to set up a meeting with those homeowners then? Or are you guys taking care of that?
We'll have talked to the other two. But not before that. 28th is fine.
Yeah, 28th, I have wide open, depending on what they do with their business meeting. But afternoon, no, wait,
But that's Wednesday, the 28th.
Yeah.
So you'll be okay, because that's Wednesday,
9 a.m.
That's
on the
April.
28th.
not Thursday.
9 a.m. on the
I
28th.
think that's one of the times they're talking about changing their meetings to a
Oh, shit.
So 9 a.m. on the 28th.
Okay.
Of that.
9 a.m. should be good.
You can set up a Teams meeting.
I can if you want.
Yeah, or you want me to just follow that?
Pretty hard to hear on there.
on the team.
Let's do the team.
No, on that thing, you're hard to hear because you're very quiet. And I'm very deaf.
We'll go with the teams meeting.
28th at 9. Okay, can I adjourn this?
Okay.